life, sipping on some syrup, I feel Canadian. City life, I might visit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another UFC picks, predictions, and preview video. It's been a little while since we've jumped on for one of these. So excited to hang out with you guys here for a little, I guess, waiting room type stream as we await UFC. The last out of all the homies, the last out of every buddy covering MMA to do a picks and predictions video. If you are new to the channel, smash that like button and subscribe, ring that bell for notifications so you never miss an upload, so you never miss a live stream. Vote in the poll question here, and we already have the UFC stream set up, so vote on the poll question there. Once you wrap up here, big card. Now, I know a lot of people are like, man, why couldn't the UFC come back with a banger of a card? I mean, I do think there's gonna be some sneaky good fights on this card. The first few ones, come see, come saw, as they say. But no, I'm excited to hang out with you guys, preview this one, and excited to hang out with you guys for a little UFC later. I don't know if I'm going to be doing BYB after UFC. There might be a little too much overlap, but I am thinking that, I mean, I've drinking enough coffee today that I'll probably be up well past midnight, so we'll probably cover Superior Rule Set action with Gladiator 29, which is, you know, realistically the only fight card that I'm looking forward to here today. More than bare knucks, more than UFC. Soccer kicks to the face, baby. Chef's kiss. And it's free on YouTube. But anyways, enough about that. Let's get into the picks and predictions. What's up, everybody in the live chat? Fatty the Fatty, Mystic, Chris Gray. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. You look very orange. Everyone keeps saying that. Everyone keeps saying it. It's just because, like, my lights are over here, not in front of me, because I'm moving soon. So I really don't give a fuck about installing lights in front of me. So everyone said that. They're like, bro, like, put on some suntan lotion. I'm like, dude, I haven't even seen the sun in a month. But anyways, let's get to the picks and predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good. I was stoked that you said that. All right. We have Joel Solecki up against Nurullo Aliev. Now, Joel Solecki took this fight on short notice, I believe 2 weeks. Aliev, a pretty good prospect. I've liked everything I've seen from him thus far. He's the big favorite for a reason. 9-0 as a pro. I mean, Tajikistan taking over MMA. 2 KO, 2 KOs, 0 submissions, 7 decisions. So he does drag his opponent into deep water. He does drown them. He's not the most exciting fighter. Let's just say that. But he is a dominant fighter. He's had, so Ashmuz, which that would have been a way more fun fight. I had to pull out to this one, unfortunately. He beat Alves, Josh Wick, 9-2 Kirill Kryukov at Eagle FC, and a 5-1 guy when he was 5-0. Before that, I mean, honestly, 3-0 beat a 5-2 guy, 4-0 beat a 4-1 guy. Like, pretty good record on the come up, not really a padded one. He's just very dominant in one certain area, and it's not like he doesn't have hands. We just don't see him scrap too much. Joe Solecki, again, coming in on short notice, lost to Grant Dawson. Joe Solecki's fine. Like, he's a good fighter, kind of not great anywhere. Grant Dawson was able to pretty much ragdoll him, control him in the grappling. And if not to say that Grant Dawson's like a bad grappler, but Aliev is way better in that department. I just think overall Aliev is a better fighter. Even if Joe Solecki took this fight on a full camp, I would probably still pick Aliev to win. So I had to play the song in full for our boy Funkmasters. I forgot to play it last night, so there you go, guys. He's been obviously training for a fight against Ashmuz, who I think is a very good opponent. Now, Joe Solecki had a grappling match in November, and I know some preview channel or some channels and people doing picks and predictions said that, okay, maybe he's kind of in shape, bro. That was in November before Christmas. All right, this guy gouged on food like all of us did. Like he should have, not knowing he had a fight coming up. Because no, he didn't have a fight coming up. He wasn't in camp. So I guess, like, obviously he's still training, and, you know, a couple months ago competed, but, like, you know, it's grappling. You're not fighting. You're not competing at the weight class in which you do as a fighter in grappling. Usually they compete up a couple. I mean, Romanov was, I think, 300 pounds for his last one. But anyways, so I wrote here, maybe in shape, but probably not. Aliev's a good prospect. Didn't have a lot of finishing ability on the regionals, but maybe, he's only 24 years of age. Maybe he starts to develop that a little bit more and take a few more risks at this level. Maybe we see him take just a couple risks in this one, given that it's Joe Solecki on short notice, given that maybe he just goes for the submission quickly here versus just smothering his opponent. So Aliev, like I said, will likely smother him, and that's who I'm picking for this one. All right, up the card here, we got Bloody Butt against Fatima Kline in one of the craziest lines that I've seen in a long time. I mean, we're pretty much boxing lines here, which I think is insane for mixed martial arts. And furthermore, I think it's insane for women's mixed martial arts. We've seen how that's worked out on Dana White's Contender Series. Thank you very much. I don't know, man. Does this chick have freaking staph in her asshole again? I don't know. Victoria Dudakova, 8-1 as a pro, lost her last fight against Sam Hughes. A lot of people say she beat Sam Hughes, but the fact that you even went to split decision, win or lose against Sam Hughes, not a good look. 25 years of age. I know the UFC wants to keep pushing her. And Fatima Kline dropping down from 125 to 115, which is where I think she's better at. Now, she's won titles at 125 and 115 on the regional scene in Cage Fury FC. Good striker, held her own against Jasmine Jasudavicius in her last fight. I was actually, look, I like Jasmine Jasudavicius, not just because I'm Canadian. I just think she's an exciting, fun fighter to watch on the women's side of things, UFC and just in MMA in general. The fact that Fatima Kline was game against her was awesome. 2 KO, TKOs, 1 submission, 3 decisions, 4-0 in Invicta, and lost her UFC debut. But again, two titles in Cage Fury FC. Has dabbled in some grappling as well. I mean, a lot of people are saying that, she didn't have any hands at all. She was just a pure grappler. Dude, she showed against Jasmine Jasudavicius that, she definitely has hands to hang with 125ers who are tall and lanky. And it was just the size and strength of Jasmine Jasudavicius where it was kind of funny that the roles were kind of reversed. A lot of people thought that Jasmine Jasudavicius would do better on the feet. And it was pretty even until kind of later parts of that fight, or later parts of the second round, where Fatima Kline actually started piecing her up a little bit. And we all thought Fatima Kline would just dominate Jasmine on the feet, but Jasmine was able to utilize her strength and wrestling there. So this is going to be interesting to see Fatima Kline in the UFC back at 115. I do think Kline took that fight on relatively short notice against Jasmine as well. Bloody Butt, 2 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 2-1 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. She beat Jinyu Frey. Big whoop. This was nasty. I will say that. And then on Contender Series, she had a good win against Maria Silva. Something must be wrong here with her. Somebody knows something, because this is absolutely insane. There's no way that the MMA bettors, you amazing degenerates, are that all in on Fatima Kline after her last performance, despite it being a good performance. I'm picking Fatima Kline to win, but this one should be closer to a pick'em. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov against Bruno Lopes. Now, this one could be a fun fight to watch. Honestly, Bruno Silva, again, you guys know this. I say it all the time. Every Brazilian on the planet comes out of the womb in a gi and a couple stripes on their white belt. Bruno Lopes is way more of a scrapper than a jiu-jitsu guy, but has some little base, some little experience with that, as every Brazilian child does. His opponent, undefeated, out of Bahrain, very much grappling heavy style, undefeated. And Bruno Lopes, in fairness, only has 1 loss. He did get knocked out by Brenson Ribeiro. And the more we've watched Ribeiro, it's kind of like, okay, Ribeiro's a one-trick pony. If he cracks you, he's got power. Other than that, he's not that great of a fighter. Brenson Ribeiro cracked Lopes. He went down. He bounced back, beating a 17-6 guy via submission, and then put on an absolute scrap this last season on Dana White's Contender Series. I love the shots, to the body. He mixed up the strikes beautifully. Definitely more of a brawler than a polished striker or just a polished MMA fighter is Bruno Lopes, but he's big, he's strong, 6 KO TKOs, 5 submissions, 2 decisions, and he's very well-rounded. Won the LFA title before coming back or she defended the LFA title before coming back to Contender Series, where he got the win. He was also a jungle fight champ, and he didn't crush cans throughout his whole career. He actually fought some decent opponents. Looking at Magomed, though, he's good. He's good. Out of Bahrain, I don't know why he posted this picture here, but anyways. 4 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 4 decisions. He actually beat Brenson Ribeiro, and again, Ribeiro, I just really don't think is that great. I think he's very much, like I said, he's got power. If he cracks you with the overhand, you're going to go down. This guy was able to actually smother him and basically take away the tools that Ribeiro has, which is just his big strikes and finding his range. Really good win against Medina, unanimous decision on Dana White's Contender Series, and looked good and brave. The one thing I will say about him, he's talented. He's got that style that really fits the UFC. If he was in Ryzen, he'd be kicked in the motherfucking face. But anyways, he did not jump onto the pro scene against really good opponents. It's been his last, 3 fights where it's like, okay, yeah, this is the Magomed that I remember watching in amateur at the IMMAF, where he actually fought good opponents, where he actually was very impressive, where we saw the talent that he has. Very much more of a grappling style, but he does have some hands. Do I think he's going to try to scrap with Bruno Lopes? No. Do I think Bruno Lopes will actually get the better of him if he gets to clinch up against the cage and is able to get an underhook and release, land some close range boxing shots? I think he might get the better of him there. I think Magomed will have to take him down, drag him into deep water, open space on the mat, and I do think he'll be able to out-wrestle Bruno Lopes, who, again, off his back is okay. But if Bruno Lopes isn't the one in the top position, isn't the one in that modified half guard side control, and able to just use his weight and his strength on the top, it's not super pretty. Let's just say that. But I do think this could be a good fight, even for the first couple rounds, if Bruno Lopes does keep this on the feet. Yo, Anthony, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Appreciate you. We'll get back to comments here in a second, guys. I'll get back to the comments here in a second, but thank you, Anthony. Thank you. I am going to go Magomed Gadzhiyasulov. I don't think Bruno Lopes is a bad underdog by any means. I'm just overall, and I do think this fight goes the distance. Yo, what the hell? Thank you, Scott, for gifting a membership too, buddy. So I'll get back to the comments after this quick rundown. I'll try to do like every 3 or 4 fights. We'll get back to the comments here. Like I said, Lopes is fine. Like dangerous body shots and just striking in the pocket. And I do like how he recognizes when he has to mix up the striking. Overall, just Magomed has better grappling technique. Hasn't been super active though, and his last 3 fights were against really good opponents, but he's taken a lot of time between them. Great amateur career. Overall, well-rounded with finishing potential. Bruno Lopes is not a bad underdog, but I am going with Gadzhiyasulov in this one. All right, before we get to the next one here, let's go back to the comments. Yeah, I don't think this card is as bad as everyone thinks. I think they look at the headliner and go, oh, I don't want to watch women's MMA. So friggin' hyped for tonight. What's up, Chris? Legend. Thank you guys so much. Hey, Sven got it. Let's go. So entertained by... Okay, you guys are just going at it in the live chat. I do think Gladiator is going to be the more entertaining card. Most Japanese MMA is more entertaining, but like I said, always cards where people are like, oh, it's a stinker card, end up having some just scraps because, lower level and relatively no-name guys and gals, this is still their stage, especially if they're newer to the promotion. And this one does have some Dana White Contender Series, just newly Dana White Contender Series graduates on this card who have something to prove. So I think with that underlying tone, there are going to be some good fights on this card. There are going to be some grappling heavy fights on this card as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, if there's no soccer kicks, is it really an entertaining league, right? Anyways, let's get to the next one. We have Ernesta Kareckaite against Nicolle Caliari. Now, Nicolle Caliari, I think, is a very good underdog. I mean, in women's MMA, right? I mean, just MMA in general, anything can happen. Women's MMA, usually if I am betting, I like to stay away from women's MMA, and usually I tell people if you're banking on a women's fight in mixed martial arts to be the one fight that really sends that parlay home for you, don't do it. Don't do it. Having said that, Caliari, I really think is the more dangerous fighter here. Now, she is the more well-rounded MMA athlete, whereas Kareckaite has a kickboxing background, who's done okay in MMA thus far, but really hasn't beaten the best opponents. 2 KO, TKO, 3 decisions. Lost to Barbosa. This actually was a pretty fun fight. Good back and forth striking affair. Really close fight against Carly Judas. This fight actually was fucking fun as well. Now that actually never mind. I'm thinking this one was okay. This fight was fucking badass, dude. And Carly Judas just lost it. I think she lost the third round, and it was like 1-1 going into third. This was one of the better women's fights of 2023. It was fucking awesome. I remember that one. It was good. But again, kickboxing, she was active in kickboxing as well as mixed martial arts. She is the Hexagon. She was a Hexagon champ. Hexagon, a pretty good league. And she beat a 4-0 gal, respectively, when she was only 3-0. Very much more of a striker, guys. Very much more of a striker. I don't think she's super capable on the ground when she's going up against another Brazilian who has some jiu-jitsu, who actually has power in her mitts as well. Is she as polished of a striker, as polished of a kickboxer? Absolutely not. But if she cracks you, will you go down? Yeah, you will. 8-2 as a pro, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. 5 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 0 decisions, baby. Let's fucking go. 0-1 in Invicta, 1-0 in LFA. Good win against La Framboise. She landed a nice rear naked choke against a 5-2 gal. Fight music show. Let's fucking go. And beat an 8-2 gal via armbar as well. She not only has power, she's strong and has good grappling. And I imagine she's going to absolutely tear through Ernesta Kareckaite, get the submission, maybe even land a big like overhand to get the takedown and take her to the ground. I think she's going to do damage everywhere. I don't think she plans to stand and strike with Kareckaite. I don't think that's a good decision, but sometimes MMA fighters don't make the best decisions in the cage. I mean, Chris Curtis is actually a decent wrestler. When the fuck do we see him wrestle? Anyway, we'll get to that later. But yeah, I don't know why she's the favorite. I really don't. So I'm going with Caliari. Again, Ernesta, very good striker. With the proper matchups, is very fun to watch. But Caliari's only wins are finishes, baby. I love that shit. Decent striker, way better grappler, just overall the way more well-rounded MMA fighter. And I think she's pretty strong as well, so I have to go there. If this just stays on the feet, if Ernesta's just been drilling takedown defense over and over again, not just the single and double leg, but like how to get out of the body lock and how to get out of the body locks, where Caliari will most likely set up the trip there if she can't just drag her to the ground. If Kareckaite can keep this on the feet, she's got a chance to win, just like in all of her fights that are on the feet. But I don't think that's going to happen. So Caliari, locking it in. All right, Preston Parsons against Jacoby Smith. I'm going with Jacoby Smith on this one. I'm just gonna give my pick right away. Preston Parsons, I'm not gonna lie, I picked him to win against Oban Elliott, and he got his ass beat in that one. I do think Preston Parsons is good. I think he's good everywhere, just not great anywhere. One of those guys that like definitely deserves to be in the UFC, and if he was on the regional scene would clean up in most cases. But it's like he needs that proper matchup to succeed, and I don't think Jacoby Smith is that proper matchup for him. He's a win one, lose one, win one type of fighter, or lose one type of fighter right now. 2-3 in his last 5, 11-5 as a pro, 0 KO TKOs, 9 submissions. Now, he's strong, he's a decent grappler, but I'm sorry, OSU wrestler with power, and if he can't knock you out, will ragdoll the shit out of you in Jacoby Smith. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Preston Parsons, I don't think that his grappling is going to match the wrestling. And if this does end up just staying on the feet, I think Jacoby Smith cracks him, bro. 2-3 in the UFC, 3-1 in House of Fame, 4-0 in Combat Night, and 2-1 in Titan Fighting Championship. He, like I say, tears up the regional scene. Beat Semi the Jedi, who, again, at points showed that he was a pretty good fighter. And I don't want to be disrespectful to him, because I do like Semi the Jedi, and I liked his come up, but lately just too chinny, bro, too chinny. And look, Preston Parsons didn't knock him out. You can't friggin' buy a KO TKO to save his life, but he beat him up bad in that one. Lost a close one to Trevin Giles. Did snatch Evan Elder's like Steven Seagal snatches motherfucking birthdays, but like, who the fuck is this guy, right? I guess he's 9-2 now. Whatever. Lost to Daniel Rodriguez and was on a 4-fight win streak to get into the UFC. Jacoby Smith, undefeated. Very, very good wrestler. And he's one of those wrestlers who's, now that his boxing, now that his striking is getting better, fucking dangerous. 7 KO TKOs, 2 decisions. Okay, and it's not like he's just straight up knocking out all of his opponents, but he'll drop them, get on top of them, beat the fuck out of them, right? Tore up Fury FC 5-0, tore up XFN 3-0, and had a great win on Contender Series as well, coming off 2 first-round knockouts. Mind you, not against the best guys, but 2 first-round knockouts nonetheless. I think his wrestling background and his power and just strength is going to be way too much for Preston Parsons. So yeah, I am going with Jacoby Smith on this one. Again, Preston's solid, well-rounded, good everywhere, not great anywhere, whereas Jacoby Smith has power, so I don't want to say he's a great striker, but does have that advantage, and he is a fucking great wrestler, all right? I think he's going to pressure Parsons. Yeah, I think the power is just going to be too much. And then if he can't KO Parsons, he's just going to ragdoll him for 3 rounds. All right, we'll run down this one, then we'll get back to the chat. We'll run down this one, then we'll get back to the chat. Thiago Moisés against Trey Ogden. Yes, Trey Ogden is older than Thiago Moisés, and actually has almost as many fights as him as well. I know everyone thinks that Thiago Moisés is the old dog here because he's been fighting in the UFC for a while. But this one is interesting. Trey is the slight underdog. He's 18-6 as a pro on a 2-fight win streak right now, and he's 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. Another guy you can't buy a freaking knockout to save his life, but he is a good grappler, and he's got he's got submissions in his arsenal. 3-2 and 1 no contest in the UFC, 3-1 in LFA, and 1-0 in Bellator. I do like the win against Radzhabov. But at the end of the day, Loic Radzhabov is not one of those like highly touted Tajikistan guys. He's coming in a little bit older, kind of had a padded record. I mean, okay, right? So a good win for Trey Ogden, but like, I don't think Loic is like the cream of the crop of young prospect Tajikistanis coming into the UFC or some of these major organizations. He's a good journeyman from that region. He's probably helped pave the way for some of the younger guys, which is cool. But again, good win. I don't think it's like, oh, he beat Loic, man. He's back, or he's about to make a run. No, he beat Kurt Hallbuck, which, okay, Kurt Hallbuck, he can scrap. He's pretty well-rounded. But another guy who's like good everywhere, not really great anywhere. Bahamondes beat him up. I honestly think if he fought Zell Huber today, 3 years later, Zell Huber would absolutely destroy him. He lost to Jordan Levitt, bro. Like, I don't know. I've never been that sold on Trey Ogden, and I think that this is a tough opponent for him in Thiago Moisés, who, despite losing his last fight to Ludovic Kline, Ludovic Kline's damn good, guys. Like, Ludovic Kline's a very good fighter. He looked good in that fight. He lost, but he could hang, and he didn't get knocked the fuck out. He beat Mitch Ramirez and was able to take him out with leg kicks, which is awesome. Lost to Benoit Saint-Denis. I mean, look, Benoit Saint-Denis might have been a little overrated coming in with the bang into the UFC. I still think Benoit Saint-Denis is dangerous, so no shame in that. And beat Costa, who's decent. Christos is whatever, but 3-2 in his last 5 fights, younger than Trey Ogden as well. American top team in Fighting Nerds, bro, like, his training partners are insane, and they have been insane for a long time. 4 KO TKOs, 8 submissions, 6 decisions, 7-6 in the UFC, 1-1 in LFA, and damn, he's had a lot of fights in the UFC despite coming in 2018. Yeah, went to the 4th round with Makhachev as well. Thiago Moisés is just better everywhere than Trey Ogden. He's probably going to submit him, or he's going to be better than him on the feet. So I'm going Thiago Moisés. In his last few fights, he's only lost to really good opponents. Not insanely dangerous, but way more dangerous than Trey Ogden, in my opinion. I love that ATT is his primary gym, and he trains with the fighting nerds. Like, bro.
That shit beautiful than a motherfucker.
And like I wrote in my notes here, if Trey Ogden fought Zellhuber today, Zellhuber would absolutely destroy him. Trey Ogden has no power. He's a good grappler. Thiago Moisés is the better one, so we're going with Moisés. Okay, let's get to the comments here. See if you guys are chiming in or just bickering about how awesome this card is. All right. Yo, what's up, Trizzy T? Good to see you, buddy. Hey, thank you guys for the gifted memberships. Appreciate you guys. I'm excited for next week's membership stream. What do we got here? Let's go. I'm going for her too. What's up, Andrew? Good to see you. The fights aren't going on, Andrew. We're just doing a rundown. Hey, Amberly, good to see you. UFC is back, baby. Parsons is mid-pack. Jacoby by KO. I'm thinking more TKO. I think he drags him to the ground and maybe punishes him there, but he definitely, if he lands a shot clean, he's got that wrestling power, right? Good to see you, Haunter. Thank you so much for joining. I got the next hockey fight for the weekly show with Jay Sick. Hit me up with that on any of the comments. I still got to respond to your other comment on one of the videos. Hey, what's up, Vincent? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you had a great New Year. I like Trey. To be fair, I also think that Trey can keep this fight at his own pace. Yeah, this fight I'm stumped. Hype for the Islam fight tonight. Hey, what's up, the striking ace? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. But I'm most likely gonna be streaming Gladiator later as well. So if you're up for a little Japanese MMA throughout the night, I'm probably gonna stay up and watch that. All right, I think I'm caught up on the comments. Trey Mogden is on a run. He is. He does have some momentum. Ihor plus money. Oh my god. I try to not like rip on athletes and these fighters too much because like fuck man, they've accomplished more than I ever will in life. But what I will say is I think he's absolute trash. So this is one of the very few fighters that you will see me, and you know I will take this one. I will say that I am not proud of what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways because I truly believe it. And this is one of the few fighters that I fucking hate, bro. Marco Tulio absolutely destroys Ihor Potieria, and for some fucking reason, the UFC isn't gonna cut his ass because he just takes fight after fight after fight, which, hey, props to him, I will say. I mean, I can hate on him throughout this whole segment, but I will say he does stay active. Man's getting paid by just giving himself free CTE. Hey, man, good for you. You're in the UFC, you're making money. That's awesome. But, like, I cannot stand this fighter. I think he's awful. Just bounces around everywhere. Pillow fucking shots, bro. Trash. Okay? 21-7 as a again. This is the only time that I'm embarrassed I'm saying this, but I cannot pretend to praise this guy with a straight face. I just can't. I will never forgive him for what he did to Shogun or his fucking stupid Fortnite dance to Shogun in Brazil. Fuck that guy, dude. But hey, my personal vendetta against him aside, I just don't think he's very good. I think as a point fighter, probably could dominate. In kickboxing, probably could win by points. In MMA, with small gloves where you need power, useless. Absolutely useless. 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Lost to Cesar Almeida. Again, in a fight where he could have employed some grappling, but nope. Wanted to stand with the kickboxer. Now, Cesar Almeida didn't finish him, so I guess props to him still. I lost to Michel Pereira. Beat whoever the fuck this guy is. I will say he rocked Bellato in this one, but Bellato's not that great either. And Bellato ended up coming back and TKOing him. Alberg beat him up. I think he's awful. I think he just bounces around and looks active, but doesn't really do much at all. Now, Marco Tulio, he's nothing special either, guys. He's nothing special either, but 12-1 as a pro, okay? 12-1 as a pro. 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Trains out of a good gym, 8 KO, 2 KOs, 1 submission, 3 decision, has grappling in his back pocket if needed, but does have pretty good power. Yeah, he beat Belgaroui on Dana White's Contender Series, but then the UFC was like, it wasn't that good of a win, and Belgaroui was sick, I think, coming into that one, so they didn't give him a contract, went back to LFA and knocked out 2 guys easy. Or knocked out Dos Santos easy, came back and landed a beautiful spinning back kick on Matthew Duclos. Before then was on a great streak before his first Dana White Contender Series, and then continues to win after. So still is on a winning streak. I almost made it sound like this was like a loss. It wasn't a loss. He did good. He just didn't finish him. So if Tulio needs to take this to the ground, I think he's more than capable of beating Ihor Potieria on the ground, and I think Tulio will crack. I think Potieria will have a good first round or look good early, and maybe even overwhelm Tulio with his speed, because what I will say about Potieria is he's got speed. He lands a lot of shots. They're just muffin shots, bro. They're just muffin shots, and when Tulio lands one clean, he's going to hurt him. And yeah, well, I mean, the UFC is probably going to re-sign Potieria after anyways. But yeah, I'm going with Marco Tulio. Yeah, I said everything I needed to in my notes. Hey, what's up? What a case. What's up, Robert? Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining. No, it's disgusting to watch. Absolutely disgusting to watch. And again, he's the only fighter I think right now that I'll actually rip on. But there you go. All right, give me 1 sec, guys. Give me 1 sec. My internet provider for the last 48 hours has been shit in the bed in my region, so I know shit's not looking too good right now, so I'm just going to do a quick little reset.
Let's go.
All right, I doubt that fixed anything because we got outages in my area, but we're gonna keep rallying through this. All right, Jose Johnson against Felipe Bunes. Felipe Bunes, 13-7 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He is coming off a loss, but it was 11 months ago. He did get knocked out in that one. TKO, Joshua Van beat him up pretty good, but again, had some time to recover. Again, sorry about the connection issues, guys. There's nothing I can do. Everything on my end checks out. The shit's dropping up and down, left, right, and center, and everyone in my area is getting affected by it. So it's gonna be a shit day for streaming. My apologies. 13-7 as a pro. He's out of Pitbull's camp, 3 KO, TKOs, 8 submissions, 2 decisions, 1-3 in ACA, 2-1 in LFA, and 0-1 in the UFC. Also fought in ACB before it merged with Akhmat. He was on a 2-fight win streak before fighting Joshua Van in his UFC debut. I mean, it's a crazy debut to get, but hey, I mean, you probably would have fought Joshua Van on the regional scene if Joshua Van was still in the regional scene. So there you go, there you go. Did win the LFA title. Joshua Van actually wasn't even in LFA's in Fury FC. We beat a 10-5 guy before then beat a 13-9 guy split decision. Yeah, did go on a 3-fight losing streak upon a pretty big win streak early in his career. I will say he was going up against really good guys in ACA, so no shame on him. The Brazilians absolutely get cooked in ACA. It's if you know, you know, ladies and gentlemen. If you know, you know. But he is a pretty well-rounded fighter. He's got decent hands. He's a pretty good grappler. It's just when he faces those elite grapplers who just push you up against the cage, and ACA refuses to separate you. They're like the opposite of Ryzen. You're not going to be dealt a good hand going to ACA if you're a Brazilian, unless, you know, you're huge, unless you're heavyweight and you're on the KSW secret juice. Jose Johnson missed weight, okay? Missed weight. This guy's a massive 125er, standing 6 feet tall. Missed by a couple pounds. I'm surprised he even makes weight at in that weight division, given his frame. 16-9 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, is coming off a loss. 8 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 5 decisions. 1-2 in the UFC, 1-1 in LFA, and 1-1 on Contender Series. He had a good fight against Asu Almabayev. He actually hurt Asu at some points in that fight, but Asu ended up overall, like, 2nd and 3rd round, if I can recall, was just the better fighter. Had a good win against Chad Enheliger. Lost him on Blackshear, was on a 3-fight win streak before then. Honestly, he loses against grapplers. He loses against guys who can actually drag him down, especially with the body lock, because he actually has decent takedown defense and decent balance, and just because he's so tall, defending like the single legs. But if you can get his torso and trip him or just drag him, you know, Damon Blackshear is good in that regard. Asu obviously is good in that regard. And Asu actually was able to strike with him a little bit as well, despite the big height difference and range difference. I don't think Felipe Bunes is going to be able to strike with Jose Johnson. I think the range, I think the striking of Johnson is going to be a little too much for Felipe. However, definitely capable. I do think Felipe actually wins this one, though. Now, I'm swinging a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm swinging a little bit on the underdog here, but the odds are close for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Jose Johnson's not a world beater. He definitely uses his size, his range in his weight class to his advantage, as, hey, if you can do it, do it. And shoot, I even think at 135, his frame still would be effective. Now, would he fight more guys around 6 feet tall at 135? Sure, but he'd definitely still have a little bit of an advantage. I think if Felipe Bunes can take him to the ground, he'll control him for more of the fight. He'll do more damage in that sense, because that type of style is what beats Jose Johnson. Now, is Felipe Bunes like freaking NCAA wrestler, Dagestani, Kyrgyzstani guy who's just like drilled that his whole life? No, but he definitely has more grappling and is a little bit more of a threat in that space than Jose Johnson, and quite frankly, against some of the guys that Jose Johnson beat recently. So I'm swinging on this one. I'm going with the underdog. I actually don't mind this underdog pick, but this one could be a very close fight, though, if it goes to decision. Or, like, I don't think Felipe Bunes submits him. I don't think Felipe Bunes knocks him out or gets a TKO. I think Felipe wins decision, or Jose Johnson wins a decision or finishes him on the feet at range. But I'm inclined to think that if this goes decision, Felipe Bunes will win via more control time and you know, knock on wood, doing more with that control time than Johnson. All right, moving up the card, we have Soriano versus Medic. God, I think this is going to be a fun fucking scrap, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is going to be a fun fucking scrap. Punahele Soriano, I think, came into the UFC with some helium and is kind of just plateaued a little bit. We know what he is. He's a good scrapper. His takedown defense is okay. He's not the greatest offensive wrestler, but he's tough. He's tough. And if you meet him in the middle, he'll throw down and puts on. the right style matchup, exciting fight. So I'm actually looking forward to this one. And Uros Medic, moving up to welterweight, he's a massive 155. I think he'll be a little less chinny. I think he'll recover a little bit more if he does get cracked with some big shots by Soriano in this one. And he's awesome, man. I really enjoy watching Uros Medic fight. 10-2 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Serbian, who trains out of Alaska, hard as fuck, dude. Great, and it takes a lot of discipline, I should say. I was gonna say it takes a great man to be able to. It takes a lot of discipline to be able to do that. And look, there's some good teams and good training partners up there in Alaska, but like, let's be honest, that just molds tough humans living up there. And coming over from Serbia to go to Alaska, not one of the big gyms in like Florida or California, Colorado. I mean, dude, shout out to him. Respect, brother. Respect. 8 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 0 decisions. That's what I fucking love to see. Finishes all his opponents. Has been submitted twice. Soriano's ain't gonna submit this guy. I'm telling you. Soriano ain't gonna submit this guy. And if he does, absolutely flood the chat with a fucking Atotoso, all right? When we're doing UFC live. 4-2 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. Look, I mean, Tim Means far past his prime, but, you know, still shows up to fight. Took him out easily. Looked good in the first round against Oralbai. Actually took it to him, and I believe dropped him at one point as well. Oralbai is a nasty grappler, man. Nasty grappler. Had arguably fight of the year last year. In the UFC, not fight of the year in MMA, because we all know that was Ashizawa Kuzi. And if you have not seen Ashizawa vs. Kuzi 2, Ashizawa vs. Kuzi in MMA, you're not a real MMA fan. And if you did watch it and you don't think that was fight of the year, I swear you don't watch the sport. But anyways, I digress. Beat Semi the Jedi, beat Omar Morales, lost to Jalen Turner, beat Alan Cruz, Miki Gonzalez. If you look at his resume, he's beaten some guys with pretty good records, and the only 2 losses were to solid guys in the UFC. Jalen Turner, he's good. He's good. Again, his wins in the UFC haven't been anything spectacular, but how he's been winning in the UFC has been really nice, and that's what I like about him. I think he does have the power advantage. I do think he's a little bit more well-rounded. Soriano, again, with the proper matchup, can be in some really fun fights, and I think this is a good matchup for it to be a fun fight. Does have really good training partners, does train out of a good gym in Extreme Couture. 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 2 decisions. 4-4 in the UFC, 1-0 in LFA, 1-0 in PFL, 1-0 of Contender Series. Wasn't able to finish Beza, lost to Dustin Stoltzfus. I mean, Stoltzfus is okay. Lost to Roman Kopylov, no shame in that. Legiambula, he lost to Nick Maximov. All right, we're moving on. Enough said. All right. An interesting one here. See, this is another fight that I'm looking forward to. Even though it's probably going to be a wrestling affair, I am looking forward to this because I have some questions that need to be answered. We have Austin Bashi against Christian Rodriguez. C-Rod, the weight misser, the freaking prospect killer. 11-2 as a pro. Lost to Julian Erosa in his last fight, which I absolutely loved. I mean, Julian Erosa, I guess, kind of a tricky guy with good wrestling. But, I mean, generally, when Christian Rodriguez fights a wrestler, he's able to withstand it. Again, guys, sorry about the connection issues. There's nothing I can do. It's my provider. Hopefully, I'll call them. I'll try to figure it out before UFC, but it's gonna be a rough one. We got outages in my entire area. It just keeps going in and out. So we're doing the best we can here. I'm not going to stop the stream right now, though. We're going to keep going. 11-2 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And again, lost to Julian Erosa. 3 KO TKO, 4 submission. Not only lost to Julian Erosa, got submitted early in the first round. Let's go. And 4 decisions. 4-2 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, 1-0 in Bellator, and 1-0 on Contender Series. The Dalgarian fight was crazy. I do think that Dalgarian should have won that fight. He won the first 2 rounds clearly, in my opinion. The third round, when Dalgarian gassed, Rodriguez was able to come back in that one. He had a good win against Cameron Simon. He had a good win against Raul Rosas Jr. 3 prospects coming up in the UFC. And now that he's made that jump to 145 permanently now, hopefully no more weight misses in his future. Now he's going up against a very good wrestler. Now Dulgarian is a very good wrestler. Christian Rodriguez was able to weather the storm and then come back and beat him in the third round. Now I know no one really agreed with that decision, but you can't not give Rodriguez credit where credit is due, and credit to him for coming back in that third round, right? Austin Bashi still very green in regards to mixed martial arts as a whole, but his wrestling is insane. Like, he's a very, very good wrestler. But again, Christian Rodriguez, unless it's Julian Erosa, can seemingly handle the wrestlers, right? Can seemingly handle the wrestlers. So, and especially when both of the fighters are gassed after like 2 grueling rounds of grappling, Christian Rodriguez tends to be the fighter who can dig a little deeper, who can find that extra gear and win that third round even tired. So that's my biggest question. Austin Bashi, does he have cardio in the third round? If this is a very scrambly affair in the first 2 rounds, can Austin Bashi continue that pace, continue that pressure, and be as dominant as we know he can be early in fights? He's undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. He is the favorite in this one. 3 KO TKOs, 5 submissions, 5 decisions. 6-0 in Legends of Combat and 5-0 in XFC. That's another thing too. He didn't fight in very good regional shows either. Did get a good win against Dorian Ramos, but Dorian Ramos took that fight on short notice. Beat a 9-6 guy. I will say Askar 14-3. That's a good win. That's a good win. And he defended his Lights Out Championship title, which, by the way, LOC Lights Out. It is on Fubo. They have a TV deal with Fubo. It's a promotion out of California, and it's fun to watch. And why I'm talking about it here is just because, hey, the more regional MMA that we can support, especially ones that are accessible to us, that have TV deals, I want to give them a shout out every time. Is it a high level promotion? No, they still. I mean, shit, man, they're on their like I think 20th show now, and they're in this. Yeah, and all right, I guess they're probably on like 18. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The guy he beat for the title, though, 15-23. He does have some good wins on his resume. Don't get me wrong. He does have some good wins on his resume. Very much leans on the grappling. I'm excited to see him start to develop his striking, because I do think he'll be one of those guys who has that just wrestling power, like Jacoby Smith, for example. But yeah, very much a wrestling heavy style. His pace is insane. Will Christian Rodriguez be able to take out another prospect? Until my questions are answered about the gas tank of Bashi and him being dragged into deep waters against someone like Christian Rodriguez, who's been there, done that against the likes of fucking Dulgarian, Simon, Raul Rosas Jr., I'm going to have to pick Christian Rodriguez. I'm kind of hoping Bashi wins because, like, sweet, I'm down to see another, Matt Hughes type prospect, especially if he can develop his hands a little bit more coming in to the UFC. But I got to see it to believe it. I got to see it to believe it at this level. So I'm going with Christian Rodriguez. Like I have in my notes here, like I said, he can survive against wrestlers. When they gas, he seemingly comes back. I think he's the better striker. He's more well-rounded. Obviously, his grappling is nowhere near the level of Bashi as far as just his strength and explosiveness. If the cardio holds for Bashi late in the fight, assuming he gets there and he just doesn't crack Rodriguez or Rodriguez doesn't crack him, I do think he's going to be a problem. However, I need to see it to believe it. All right. Let's check back in with the live chat here. Let's check back in with the live chat. Ihor uses his face to defend punches too much to put money on him. I haven't seen the face-off. Jubilee's winning. I think this is Ihor's comeback fight. Again, I at least admit when, like, I'm being a dick, or like that, you guys have full reign to be like, yo, shut the fuck up, you're being a dick. Again, I own this one. to take a page out of John Jones' book. I don't like Ihor Potieria. I do not respect him. Ihor gets KO'd in round one. Ihor's fun. Nurullo KO. I thought Ihor was going to be better than he is. I'm just about to do my picks on Tapology now. Let's go. It's fun to watch him get rocked. I know, and I already feel bad, but again, I gotta stay true. I guess him and Rose Namajunas are the only two that I will actually rip on stream. I'd be willing to throw a beer at him during the fight. Hey, for how he clowned on the legend that is Shogun, he deserves it. No. I don't even make this on Tapology, dude. People take that shit way too seriously and like yell at me in the chat and on their own streams. I don't even want to go near that shit. Rush Hour Fight Club, he's got a league. Ask if you can join his. I don't want to go near that shit. Way too many crazy people on MMA YouTube for me to even try to dip my toes in that, my friend. Without getting anyone in trouble. So I'm just scrolling through the chat here to see who's chimed in on some of these as well. Yeah, I'll definitely rip on Thug Rose. Little glitchy, but not okay. That just letting you guys know it's I got a new computer. New old computer. I replaced my 10-year-old computer. I guess it was like 11-year-old computer I built in college that finally kicked the can. Rest in peace. I played a lot of Counter-Strike on it. I edited a lot of videos on it. It had its time. I bought a 2-year-old computer that I got a wicked deal on and just like replaced some of the parts that like I didn't need. It was like mostly a gaming computer with stuff that I did need for like editing and stuff like that. So I promise it's my network provider that's just been absolute shit right now. But it seems like we've been doing okay through the rest of the stream. Bunes look good in LFA. Yup. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Actually, both fat because I'd eat good. Some of you know nothing about waiting hours to buffer. End of Z World on eBum's World at 720p. Bro, mine wouldn't even buffer at 360. Hey, what's up, Anakin? Good to see you. Jose Johnson by sub or decision. Jose almost had a sub on Asu. Hey, thank you, no-named Don Dudaluz. Thank you so much. Jose is a journeyman. Yo, Idol Skatesman with the $5 donation. Thank you so much. It's going right on the rewards card, baby. It's going right on the rewards card. Thank you so much, buddy. Like I said, I cannot wait for your post show so I can donate to your guys' channel for the first time as well. Thank you so much for the $5 donation, buddy. Thank you so much to Anthony for gifting membership. Sorry I missed it live. I literally had the Tapology tab covering the chat. So my apologies for getting to that late. Scott, thank you for the gift of membership. And Idol Skates, man, you were far too kind. Seriously, you literally donated $10 last night, bro. Getting finished by Van, who goes to decision, is interesting. Shout out to all the hardcores in the chat. Yeah, shout out to all the hardcores in the chat staying up tonight to watch Gladiator 29. It's going to be an awesome show, and it's free on YouTube. Superior rule set action, baby. None of this unified bullshit. Medic might be a lock, but Puna has a puncher's chance. Absolutely. I like Medic too. Let's go. It's fight day, baby. Yeah, it started with Polish freak show fights. And then we got UFC. Then we got bare knuckle fighting. And then we have Gladiator. Like, there's a little bit of combat sports for everyone. 5-on-5 midget fighting. I mean, little people fighting. I'm going to get canceled now. It's unbelievable. Shout out to that Polish freak show fights. It's crazy. It's crazy. We need a card with Medic followed by Shi Ming. Oh, I may not be a fan. So we can have Medic and a doctor fight back to back. Boom, boom. Bashi all day. I picked C-Rod. C-Rod isn't a 145er. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Because he keeps missing weight at 135. So I would say that classifies him as a 145er. Yeah, you're crazy picking a guy who got subbed by Orosa. Like Bashi. What does Dana/Hunter have against C-Rod? They're giving him the toughest matchups because he keeps missing weight, bro. See, I don't know. I think, look, you guys are probably right. But again, I need to see it to believe it. I'm not just going to bank on Bashi applying this type of wrestling against a guy who has been able to withstand guys who pretty much just have wrestling. Now, the Erosa was like, that was crazy, and shout out to Erosa. I was kind of happy for that one. but I need to see it to believe it. Gini Rosa subbed him. Rosa can catch anyone in the first round. And Rosa's not, like, everyone rips on Rosa. Like, he's not that bad, right? Like, definitely a journeyman at this point, but, like, I don't understand the hate for Rosa, who, weird, had a wrestling background. Going C-Rod, I know him and Bashi, but going Rufus MMA, let's go C-Rod. Yo, what's up, Brian? Good to see you. But yeah, Rosa's washed. Bashi didn't really impress me that much on Dana White Contender Series. Well, he's very much one-way traffic with his pace in wrestling, which is excellent, right? And that fits like this UFC style, right? Because you can't kick him in the face, right? You can't ground opponent him if he misses the takedown or ground strike him if he misses the takedown or the takedown is stuff. So like his style is very much fitted for the UFC, which is why I think, again, if his cardio is good, I think he'll be great. His striking will get there. You know, he'll fall in love with some of those big shots, but I got to believe it I got to see it to believe it at this point. Rosa's definitely a sub or miss, but he should have won versus him. Fair. But that's what's amazing about this sport, right? That's what's amazing about this sport. Anything can happen. 0 by KO by N2. Live bet C-Rod if you can handle the grappling. I don't bet, so it doesn't really matter. Solid advice, Haunter. But Haunter, he's the expert, so listen to him. Bashi is a good fighter, but way overhyped as a prospect. C-Rod is good. Trains with Mark the Shark and Sergio Pettis. Shout out to Rufus Sports. See those guys next month, the APFC 16. Let's go. God, I can't make it to that one, but this spring/summer, when the roads are clear, Brian, I know I said it last year, but last year it was a tough year financially. I've started to put like some money aside that I don't just have to pay off student loans with, that I can actually like use for doing some traveling this early summer. And I really want to hit up your neck of the woods. I know I owe you. I owe both of you. I owe your fam some beers. Maybe a nice meal as well, because Brian and Brittany, guys, OG supporters of the channel, they've been subscribers to this channel since we were around like 200-300 subs. Seriously, they've been here for so long, for the last 3 years. Brian even sent me like a beer care package that fucking FedEx or whoever stole from me straight up and drank all the beer. So Brian, Brittany, hope you're well, hope the kids are good. And cannot wait to make my way down there, hit up some APFC and buy you guys a beer. Useless, good to see you. Bashi trains with the great Benil, Dariush, and Cejudo. Love Dariush. Again, Anakin, don't make it out that don't. I don't want you to like, and I'm not saying you are, but like, don't make it seem like, you know, like you're putting words in my mouth, right? Like I didn't say that he's bad. I feel like I gave a pretty fair rundown. Is what I'm saying. I just have to believe it to see it. And if anything, I don't really want Christian Rodriguez to win. I don't like when guys consistently miss weight like that. And to be honest, in that win against Algarian, I don't think he should have won that one. I think that was a robbery, and I don't use that word loosely. I want Bashi to succeed. I just have to see it to believe it, right? So, I did say maybe a little bit of a swing on that one as well. Good to see you. Yeah, Bashi and Triple C, we're at XFC here. I got my Ribas shirt ready. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome that you, she one of your favorite fighters? What's so funny about that? Eating a bacon, egg, and cheese right now. I skipped breakfast, but had a good lunch, which is why I started streaming about 15 minutes later than I said I would. I don't give a fuck who someone trains with. Most of these gyms have great talent to trains with. Just had steak. Nice. Did you hear Talbot wants to fight Andrew Tate? No, I did see he was on Helwani recently. I barely recognized him with the friggin' Dan Severn poustache and the hairdo. Yeah, what cut? Just a regular? Sirloin, maybe? Ooh. Y'all are eating good today for the return of UFC. I love it. I actually have a tuna steak that I'm gonna have for dinner later. Just some rice and some cilantro, parsley, and radish as my greens. Talbot quote: "He's like the antithesis of me. It just seems somebody cheated on him when he was younger, and now he has a vendetta against women. He's just a poison for masculine culture." You've never had a ribeye? Ooh, you gotta try a ribeye. You gotta try a ribeye. As much as I love C-Rod, I got Bashi by sub. Rosa and Billy Q have the chin, and Billy Q have the chin of a baby. Hey, what's up, Just Unorthodox? Good to see you, buddy. Just good to see you. I'm good, man. Happy New Year. Hope you had a great holidays and good New Year. UFC's back, baby. He's an OG. Would it be fair if Bashi got behind C-Rod and did what Izzy did? Okay. Jesus Christ. I mean, I wouldn't condone that, mostly just because, like, that's too much clowning on a fighter. That's too much clowning on a fighter. What beers are planned for tonight? I have a pretty thick bitch of a stout that I think I might crack. It's a chocolate peanut butter banana imperial stout, and it might be barrel aged. I have to double check. Out of Prize Brewing here in Minnesota. Very rich. I think it's coming in at like 12 or 13%. So I think I'm going to crack that. User 7110. By the way, user 7110, we filmed another beer review, buddy. We filmed another beer review. Like halfway through editing it. It should come out Monday. I can't imagine life without a ribeye. I mean, they are expensive. They are expensive. Like, I've never purchased a ribeye myself. I can't afford them. But like, I've had people... I've gone to friends' houses or I've gone out to eat and someone's paid for one before. So sounds delicious. Just never bought it. I mean, yeah, I can't afford a ribeye personally, but I've had, I think, 2 or 3 in my life. Y'all about to lose your shit, clown me, but I've never eaten a steak in my life. Kopylov gonna smash. My favorite videos are the beer reviews besides the fight nights, of course. Hey, well, we're bringing them back, user. I literally, like, it's been a crazy couple months as I moved from the old place, so I kind of didn't have that background anymore. And I'm moving from this temporary place soon, so I just haven't had a good backdrop for it. But I had a buddy come over. He brought a really, really nice stout, and I was like, "Fuck, all right, let's film a beer review. Let's film a beer review for user 710, baby." Hold on. This one's for you, my friend. Hell yeah. So yeah, I think I'll have that pastry stout tonight. I do not eat red meat unless it's salmon. I meant the beer. They're not bad cost-wise if you get them at Aldi. You know what, Haunter? Spoken like a true... I don't know if Aldi's anywhere else, but I just thought it was in the Midwest, so I'll say Midwester. Aldi is awesome. You know, like... Aldi is the reason I'm not living on the streets, ladies and gentlemen. The fatty bro, you need to live and try some steak. Life's too short. Yes, happy New Year, buddy. Eating hibachi steak tonight. Hoping for a good card tonight. We all eating good tonight. I got a tuna steak, an ahi tuna steak for $10 off, and it's not even old. I just think like around the holidays, it wasn't an Aldi, it was a Cub. But I think they just had like an overstock of them. And literally, like, I bought like 4 and froze them because they were $4, dude, and they're huge. And, you know, I just do little lemon juice, little lime juice, little lemon juice, little salt and pepper. One side in like a little pool of it for 2 minutes. Other side, another pool of it for 2 minutes. Fry that shit up, medium rare. Steak is great, but nothing beats a solid salmon, especially a West Coast salmon. West Coast salmon off the shores of Vancouver Island. Let's go. All right, let's get to this next one. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys so much for chiming in the chat. It's fun. It's fun getting back to doing these streams weekly with you guys. And hopefully in February, we'll do more covering other promotions as well. All right, we got Chris Curtis against Roman Kopylov, the big old Russian Chase Hooper, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe when Chase Hooper is in his 30s, he might fill out and straight up be Roman Kopylov. Because he is getting a little bigger. He's getting a little lankier. And he does say he walks around at like 185. So, I mean, we'll see. Novosibirsk, by the way, this is a tough area of Russia to live in, all right? It's like Novokuznetsk, except I think it's a little bit south. You don't want to fucking go to Novokuznetsk, guys. Just stay far away from Novokuznetsk. That's all I'm going to say. Roman Kopylov, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, 13-3 as a pro. A pretty well-rounded fighter. Very, very good striking. Very, very powerful striking, and his grappling is okay, capable. 11 KO TKO, 0 submissions, 2 decisions, 5-3 in the UFC, 1-0 in ACB. And he had he had not a good win against Cesar Almeida. Let's just call it for what it was. He probably should have just taken him down earlier. He actually tried to strike with him where he had a little bit of success at some parts, but like the guy who has no grappling and little to no takedown defense, and you want to test your striking against him, a guy straight out of Glory as a win over Alex Pereira, bro, that was a dumb move. So I think that was just a low IQ versus just in that fight anyways by Kopylov versus doing what he actually needed to do to win the fight, which, oh, look at that. He actually employed his wrestling. He absolutely dominated Cesar Almeida in that area. So yeah, split decision here. I don't think it's because of like capability-wise. I think it's just because that was just not the best decision-making in that fight. Lost to Anthony Hernandez. No shame in that. Anthony Hernandez is a very, very good grappler. Beat Josh Fremd, whatever. Beat Claudio Ribeiro, okay. Soriano, okay. Alicio Di Chirico on his way out. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Super impressed with the names he's beaten. How he's beaten them? Sure. He looks good. Like, I know what got him here. And if you watch some of his old fights too, bro, a solid fighter, all right? But it's like the guys that he's beaten in the UFC, kickboxing crossover with little to no grappling. Josh Fremd, like, former hockey player. No joke. Ribeiro, he's pretty good, okay? Soriano, and Di Chirico was on his way out. You know what I mean? So it's like, all the talent's there. When is he going to take a step up in competition and win? Because he lost to Duraev, he lost to Carl Robertson, right? Chris Curtis at 37 years of age, is that next step? Maybe. Chris Curtis, is he in the decline right now? He very well might be. He lost his last fight, 31-11-0. I know he's tough to take down, but that is starting, he's starting to show some cracks even in that like amazing ability that he had to keep fights on the feet. He's more one-dimensional in his striking than Kopylov. Kopylov will kickbox. He'll mix up the kicks. He's got nice high kicks. He's got good body kicks, and he's got good boxing. Where Chris Curtis, the action man, pretty much just strikes with a boxing style and really good at stuff and takedowns. So, like, there's not much more to the action man's game. Having said that, like, I do think, like, he probably has decent wrestling, given the gym that he's at, given who his training partners are. Do I think his wrestling is probably as good as Kopylov's? Probably. Maybe even better. I've seen Curtis employ wrestling on the regional scene and in other promotions more than I've seen Kopylov do it. If he starts getting pieced up by Kopylov early, I think he has to lean on control time. As much as I know Chris Curtis probably doesn't want to do that and wants that highlight reel knockout or finish or just performance. I think if he can't hang on the feet with Kopylov, I think he'll have to go. I think he'll have to clinch fight. I think he'll have to dirty box. I think he'll have to probably go for some takedowns. He said in his pre-fight presser that like he is dialed in for this one. Doesn't want to lose 2 in a row. Getting up there in age and probably very much in the decline right. Like we're probably in his decline right now. Okay, he's had so many fights, man. Over 40 fights in his pro MMA career. How can you, whether you like him or not, because I know a lot of people just don't like Chris Curtis, whether you like him or not, you got to respect his career. 15 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 13 decisions, 5-3, 5-3-1 in the UFC, 1-3 in the PFL, 1-0 in Contender Series, and he's fought in every fucking regional scene ever. He was even ranked like number 1 in Canada at one point, which I guess is not super hard to do in this day and age. But still, like ex-MMA, Fight Night, CES, where he's the champion there as well, HFC. It's crazy. There's some interviews that he's done where he's talked about in just some of the crazy venues and areas that he's fought. And he did train in Thailand, which a lot of people who go to Thailand for that first time, it seems to like open up some new opportunities and new skills to employ in the cage. What I'm trying to say is if this was Chris Curtis 2-3 years ago, I would pick him and I wouldn't even hesitate because I'm not sold on Kopylov yet because he has not been putting all that talent together against the best opponents or even that great of opponents in the UFC. But given where Chris Curtis is at in his career right now, goddamn. Fuck, I'm taking another swing on this one. We're going with the action, man, baby. Please fucking wrestle. Please. Anyways, regardless if this does stay on the feet, whether Chris Curtis loses or wins, it should be a good striking match if he doesn't, try to kind of do what Kopylov did late to Almeida in their fight. Speaking of Almeida, moving up the card in the featured fight, we got Abdul Razak Al Hassan against Cesar Almeida, and this one should be fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. This one should be fireworks. Cesar Almeida, like I said, very new to mixed martial arts, 6-1 as a pro, 36 years of age, so kickboxing crossover late in his combat sports career. 4 KO, TKO, 2 decisions, 2-1 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. He beat Ihor Potieria. Big fucking whoop. Lost to Kopylov, but actually had him in some areas. Was getting the better of him on the feet. Beat Dylan Budka, which again, going into that one, Budka with his wrestling background, high school wrestling background, I guess. Maybe JUCO as well, I forget. But I know Budka did have a wrestling background. He didn't show that he had a wrestling background at all, and Budka just looked awful in that fight. So, hindsight, again, he may have beaten a wrestler, but he didn't beat a guy who was trying to wrestle him at all. And Lucas Fernando, 9-1 when he beat him. All right, that was a good win. I'll give him that. I love watching Almeida. I loved watching Almeida in Glory, man. I did. He was fun to watch in Glory. He's a very good striker. His takedown defense, it's not there yet. It's just not there yet. But the UFC matchmakers, baby,
That shit beautiful than a motherfucker.
they gave him a guy who will never shoot for a takedown in Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who honestly, I just hope Al Hassan wins so that we can have another based and amazing post-fight press conference. I hate that motherfucker. Fuck that guy. Oh my God, his post-fight pressers are a treat. They're almost more exciting than his goddamn fights, and he is a knockout machine. Now, he's getting up there in age, 39 years of age, trains at a good gym in Fortis, 12 KO TKOs, 0 submissions, 0 decisions. So his only wins have been via knockout. 6-1 in the UFC, 2-0 in Bellator. No contest against Cody Brundage. Oh yeah, because he was hitting him in the back of the head. He would have beaten Cody Brundage in that one anyways. Lost to Joe Pyfer. Be like Joe Pyfer. Beat Claudio Ribeiro. Lost to Joaquin Buckley. Split decision. Beat DiCirico as well. Lost to Malkoon. Lost to Chaos Williams. Yeah, hasn't beaten the best opponents. Beats Sabah Homasi. Homasi, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in BKFC now. Where he got a win. Again, not the most talented guy. Not the best well-rounded MMA fighter, but he's got power and he likes to scrap. Judo Thunder. I've never seen him throw a judo throw in my life. So I highly doubt this goes to the ground. Sure, probably the game plan for Abdul Razak Al Hassan, or the game plan, the smart game plan would be to try to take Cesar Almeida to the ground, where he just is completely, despite being Brazilian and coming out of the womb with a stripe on his white belt in a gi. I think Cesar Almeida might be the only Brazilian to come out of the womb without a gi. Honestly, I think he's the only one. Having said that, Abdul Razak Al Hassan is not going to try to take him down. He's going to try to scrap with him, and I think Cesar Almeida gets the better of Al Hassan despite him maybe having the power advantage. I'm going Cesar Almeida on this one. Yeah, I went through all my notes there. All right, before we get to the co-main event, let me quickly check in on the chat one more time. I know the last few streams we had to do them like super fast, and I neglected the chat. So, yeah. What's up, Morpheus? Good to see you. So one of my best friends when I grew up in Prince George, northern British Columbia, Canada, he'd go moose hunting all the time. So I've actually gone moose hunting. I never shot one, but I've gone moose hunting. I've killed a lot of grouse while going moose hunting. Both to take home and both to... I'm a terrible person, okay? But I do like grouse. I usually just kill grouse with my slingshot, to be honest, because they're that stupid and die that easily. And actually, I prefer grouse meat even over chicken. It almost has like a hint of like lime and salt to it. naturally. But yeah, no, I love moose. My friend would give us a roast every time I went hunting with him. I bought the 20 euro steak once. It's called filet. Filet mignon is very nice. Cut of meat ain't gonna mean I'm living a little more. And Clive just replied to Poatan saying, "See you soon, boy." Is Poatan running? I don't think so. That fight's gonna happen, right? We got 1 hour left, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Abdul hasn't won a fight that has went past 6 minutes. Very good point. Abdul needs to wrestle hard. My question is Abdul smart enough to try and wrestle at all? I don't think he's going to. Is it bad that I want the more attractive girl to win most of the time? I'd say that you fall into the norm category there. Good to see you, Sean. Good to see you. Uh-oh, what did I do with the rest of my notes? Oh. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We know how the next ones are going to go. Alligator's good. I had some fried alligator at the state fair, actually, the Minnesota State Fair. I haven't had like an alligator steak, but I've had fried alligator, and it's pretty good. Oh my god! If it means it keeps Janjiro from being champ, I'm with you. Any bold predictions for 2025? Ooh. Not really, to be honest. Not really. I mean, we live in the day and age where like anything can happen. We literally live in the day and age of if it can happen, it will happen. So I don't know if like any prediction is bold these days. Bold prediction by 2025, I won't go bald. That's my bold prediction. Connor fights. I don't even think that's bold at this point. Or actually, wait, that would be. Bold prediction for 2025. I still have hair by the end of the year. That's my prediction. That's my bold prediction. All right. I'm going to look like freaking Carlston Harris in a couple weeks. Or maybe a month. We'll see. Carlston Harris against Santiago Ponzinibbio. 19-6 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. This one's pretty close to a pick'em. Slight underdog at plus 115, 37 years of age. Has not fought in a little while. Got knocked out by Chaos Williams. No shame in that. Before then was on a 2-fight win streak. Jeremiah Wells, good win. Jared Gooden, okay win. Lost to Rakhmonov, no shame in that. And beat Impa Kasangane, which it's a fine win. Impa lost his last fight in PFL, by the way. What? Yes, he did. 5 KO/TKOs, 6 submissions, 8 decisions, 4-2 in the UFC, 2-1 in Brave, 3-0 in XFC, and 2-1 in Shuto Brazil. He's had a decent career. What can I say? And I love that he's fought all over. Fought in Shuto Brazil, fought in UAE Wars, fought in Brave. Shoot, was a friggin' champion in Brave as well. Like, really fought in the World Series of Fighting. If you look at his career, you go, holy fuck, this guy actually had a hell of a career and fought killer after killer in every promotion. But he is getting up there in age, and just he did not look good against Chaos Williams, even before he got knocked the fuck out. Now, Santiago Ponzinibbio, 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Not a good look there. And is getting up there in age as well. Little bit chinny. He's getting way more chinny than he ever used to be, right? Because he actually used to be able to take a lot of damage. That's probably why he's getting a little chinny now, close to 40. Looked good against Muslim Salikov, and I don't know why people were ripping on that fight. I thought it was actually a really fun fight, and it was a really good matchup between older guys who put on a show for us. And he narrowly lost one. He was actually getting the better of Muslim Salikov on the feet at times, and Salikov actually had to, in a rare occasion, resort to his grappling to be able to win that fight and get the edge with the control time, right? Lost to Kevin Holland, got knocked out, but it actually was looking good before he got knocked out. Beat Alex Morono, which I thought Alex Morono was like better than he was. I always thought Morono was like good everywhere, not great anywhere, but 2024 was not a good year for him. Let's just say that. Lost a close fight to Michel Pereira at 170, and had a close decision against Jeff Neal as well. So like, if you really look at his losses under the microscope, his recent losses under the microscope, late in his career, still putting out good performances overall. 16 KO TKOs, 6 submission, 7 decisions, 11-7 in the UFC. And yeah, post Ultimate Fighter, man, he went on a freaking run for a little while. Not necessarily against the best guys, but still, Gunnar Nelson, Mike Perry, Neil Magny, Court McGee, who was a tough guy to fight at that point. Like, all decent names. Like, was he ever championship material? No. Was he like a solid fighter on the roster? And, you know, even at 38 still is? I think so. This one's tough. I'm going to bank on Harris not being able to finish Ponzinibbio. And I think this is going to be a close fight. And I think even if it goes split decision, Ponzinibbio is going to take this one. He's not going to fall to split decision like last time. I don't think Harris is going to out-grapple Ponzinibbio late in the fight like the King of Kung Fu did. So I'm going Ponzinibbio. Both older. Both have really good wins. I liked Ponzinibbio's last performance. And I think just overall, like both these guys in their prime, I think Ponzinibbio wins. Both them at old age, winning and losing. Sometimes brutally, but mostly losing. I still give a slight edge to Ponzinibbio in this one. I'm surprised this one's not a straight pick'em. I'm interested to see what the odds will be like right before they walk out. Main event of the evening, then we'll get back to you guys' comments and we'll hang up the gloves and take a little bit of a break before the UFC stream starts. Amanda Ribas versus Mackenzie Dern 2. Amanda Ribas 13-5 as a pro. She is 2-3 in her last 5 fights. She's the favorite at -190, and she does have a win over Mackenzie Dern. She was able to honestly out-grapple Mackenzie Dern and do way more damage than her. Just beat her up, to be perfectly honest, in their first fight. But that was a few years ago. Mackenzie Dern has gotten better since, but shoot, man, so has Amanda Ribas. They're both the same age. They both have been fighting MMA for pretty much the exact same amount of time, same experience. Mackenzie Dern obviously has the jiu-jitsu factor because she is a very good grappler. And if you're in deep water, if you're in the center of the cage with Mackenzie Dern, you got no wall to help you out. That's where she thrives. Having said that, I do think Amanda Ribas will be a little bit stronger. Excuse me. She lost her last fight to Rose Namajunas, where she wasn't like completely outclassed. She just lost every round, but like maybe won. Just didn't do enough. You know what I mean? It was like a step behind. Didn't get beaten up, but just was a step behind. And, you know, Rose beat her pretty much at her own game in that one. Good win against Pinheiro. Lost to Macy Barber. Macy Barber's okay, so honestly, not a lot of shame in that. Beat Arroyo, meh. And Katlyn, this is Katlyn Chukagian, right? But then she changed her name. Caitlin Serminara? I keep forgetting that she changed her last name, but formerly Chukagian. She's good. She always has hung around the top of the division. So I don't think her losses are bad losses by any means. 4 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 5 decisions. She's never been sub 2. 7-4 in the UFC, 2-1 in Jungle Fight, 3-0 in Pentagon Combat. And this one, she beat the jiu-jitsu ace in Virna Jandiroba. Some people are like, no, Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu is going to be too much for her. Sure, her jiu-jitsu can be too much for a lot of the women, but Jandiroba is an amazing grappler and has unreal jiu-jitsu, and she beat her unanimous decision. Just saying. Mackenzie Dern, 14-5, pretty inconsistent recently, let's be honest. It's like one fight her striking will look good, and it's like, holy fuck, this girl can box. And then the next fight, it's like back to looking like freaking Ronda Rousey boxing. You know, something like that. I just think of that Ronda Rousey video Napoleon Bonaparte puts up with her coach in the background talking on Joe Rogan. Anyways, I digress. Good win against Lupita Godinez. Some people screamed robbery in that one. I thought it was a close fight, but I do think Mackenzie Dern, upon rewatching it, won. I think in the moment I did think Lupita Godinez won that one when we did the Fight Companion 4, but I rewatched that one and I was like, no, Mackenzie Dern, she won that. Fair enough. Lost to Lemos, no shame in that. Lost to Jessica Andrade, even though it's Jessica Andrade's well past her prime. No shame in that. She hits hard. Beat Angela Hill. And Lawson Yan Xiaonan, who no shame in this one at all. Yan Xiaonan is a fucking beast, dude. She's awesome. A really good striker, and whose wrestling and takedown and jiu-jitsu defense is becoming very good. So she has been fighting tough opponents recently. Obviously, never a KO. TKO, 7 submissions, 7 decisions, 9-5 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, and 1-0 in Contender Series. All right, she lost to Fionn Davies in Craig Jones Invitational as well. Craig Jones. She also beat Virna Jandiroba. I'm going Ribas in this one. I just think she's better. She's better everywhere except pure jiu-jitsu. And even then, she can hang with pure jiu-jitsu gals. So I'm going Ribas on this one to win the rematch. I originally said that this was maybe a coin flip. I mean, women who have similar records, women fighters who, especially in the UFC, similar level, usually it's a coin flip. And originally I thought this one was, but I mean, the more I kind of dug into this one a little bit, the more I'm like, dude, this is Ribas's fight to lose, in my opinion. This is Ribas's fight to lose. Because if Mackenzie Dern would have fought friggin' Rose Namajunas, I think Rose Namajunas would absolutely dominate Mackenzie Dern as well. Maybe even in more brutal fashion. So yeah, going with the more well-rounded fighter in Amanda Ribas. All right, before we hit up your comments here, guys, and we close out the show, you know how we do here. We have, and this is almost like the meme part, the meme segment of the show. You guys are the gambling experts, right? I am not. I don't gamble. But people always ask me for the degenerate and safe parlay of the week. If I did gamble, this would be my degenerate. This would be my safe parlay. My lock of the week is obviously Aliev. And honestly, I kind of want to see him lose now because he's everybody's lock. But the degenerate parlay is Potieria, Bloody Butt, Dudakova, and Parsons. My safe parlay is Magomed, Uros Medic, and Roman Kopylov. All right, let's get to the final comments here. I guess you're saving up for a plane ticket to Turkey. Oh, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. Connor beats his coke addiction. Patty doesn't binge eat after all the fights. One last super bald prediction. Patty gets blackout wasted and actually eats Molly McCann, mistaking her for a meatball. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I think Ponzi scheme retires if he wins this. I can take them both. Okay. We got Danny the hero on the live chat over here. What's your record, Danny? I want to see Dern get beat up. This rematch will be interesting since Dern just didn't have a baby. That's true. That's true. That and 6 years of striking progress. Imagine if Dern spent those 6 years at Tiger Muay Thai, she'd probably be a nightmare. She looked terrible at the CJI. Her first fight to lose was literally my final note on Ribas. Or her fight to lose, sorry. First time betting real money. I'm about to lose all my savings. Yep. Let's go, baby. That's usually how it goes. Good to see you, Oz. Love the profile picture. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for this UFC picks and predictions. Usually we only go around an hour. Sorry for some of the connection issues we had earlier. Knock on wood, like we don't face a ton today. But again, where I live right now, my network, which actually is usually pretty reliable, we've just, since these storms have been hitting and things like that, we've just had some outages in my area. It's kind of just like in and out connection. So we're going to continue to monitor it. We're going to continue to stream today, but just know that if we do have some connection issues, it's out of my control. There's only so many times I can unplug and plug in the modem and restart things. That really doesn't matter because it's just at a network level, but things seem to smooth out by the end here, and hopefully they remain strong for UFC. We'll be back in 45 minutes for UFC. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll be back next week for more UFC picks and predictions. Back in less than an hour for UFC. And I don't think we're going to do BYB after UFC, but we likely will stay up all night and watch Gladiator 29. It's free on YouTube. In my opinion, that's going to be the most fun promotion out of the Polish Freak Show fights, out of UFC, out of BYB. I do think Gladiator will be the most entertaining promotion because it doesn't have these stupid-ass, fake-ass, trash, disgraceful unified rules. It has real rules, superior rule set action. Smash that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you for UFC in less than an hour. on the other side. Peace.
Yeah.